Investment advisory and financial planning services are offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor. SEC registration does not constitute nor endorse of the firm, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill nor ability. Investing involves risk of loss. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through Diamond Life Planning is a separate and unaffiliated entity from Simplicity Wealth. This information is provided as a general information that is not intended to be specific financial guidance. Before you make any decisions regarding your personal financial situation, you should consult a financial or tax professional to discuss your individual circumstances and objectives.
Welcome to the Rock My Finances show on K4HD Radio and Talk4 TV, where we put the fun in finance. Join Powerhouse Jennifer Joseph, CDFA, CMC, and Private Wealth Advisor, as she collaborates with you to create clarity, control, and confidence with your money, your way. It's not about the zeros, so what is it all about? Let's find out. Now here's your host and weekly friend, Jennifer Joseph.
Hey y'all, welcome back. I just love that rock and roll song, just saying. I know that might just be me, but I love it because it gets me going. I love this. I love to talk about money and emotions and making money and having wealth and abundance and joy. So here we are today. Something that might be holding us all back from this, and I don't know about you, but I can totally relate. Self-declared control freak out there? How about self-declared control freak in recovery? Yeah, that would be me totally for years and years and years when I started setting boundaries and all that great stuff. So today we're going to talk about one of the 7 wounds, the money wounds that could be holding us back from all of our abundance and wealth and joy. Today we're talking about control. And I want to start with the question, do you like to be in control? And what does that really mean? Of course, I love to be in control. I love it. It makes me feel like my perfectionism is on target. It makes me feel like I can actually have safety in the world. Like I absolutely love control. Now, when our control starts to moving beyond ourselves, that's when we need to take a look at things. So we want to know what's happening and we want to plan, right? I want to know what's happening, when bills are due, when bills are paid, what accounts are, where they're at, if the kids are okay, where they're at. Are we texting their cell phones? Do we know all their family members that they're with? Are their friends and their friends' parents? Is the house okay? Is everything around the house okay? Can I control the thermostat even? Can I control the sprinklers? Everything. Is there enough money in the bank? Do I have enough money in my retirement savings? All of this sounds reasonable, right? Which it does. And what happens is being reasonable turns into needing control on everything around us to feel safe. And that's when we want to take a look at it. What happens when you actually just can't relax until you know exactly what's going to happen? Have you ever felt that way? Like, I don't know what's going to happen, so I can't do that. Some people don't travel because they don't know what it's going to be like over there. Like we just got back from Iceland for my daughter's wedding. My daughter Journey got married. It was fabulous. Oh my God, we had such a good time. It was a total blast. It was amazing. We had so many people coming from the United States to Iceland. I had never been to Iceland, so I was a little weary. If it wasn't for my daughter, I would not be doing that. I like, beaches and warm weather. And I cannot tell you how amazing Iceland was. It was one of the best times ever. So getting out of our control really does show us new things, new worlds, new lives, new emotions, new friendships. It was amazing. But when we're still in that control factor, we want to know what exactly is going to happen step by step. So when we're spending money, does that make you anxious? And does it make you anxious when you have the money, but you need to make the decision to spend money? Does that make you anxious? When the market downturns, do you go into a panic? Do you freak out? When you check your bank accounts consistently every day, always opening up your app, seeing where your money is. When someone else makes a financial decision differently than what you would make, does that drive you crazy? Meaning business partner, spouse, children, something that they actually decide something differently than when you would decide. That drive you crazy. Or when you've worked your entire life to create this amazing financial security and somehow you still don't feel secure. I get that all the time. I have people come to me for financial planning. They literally have plenty. Like what they spend right now, they could double that spending and they still would not run out of money at 100. So why are they still anxious, right? Why don't they feel secure? That's what we're talking about today. Because sometimes what looks like being really good with money is actually a fear. It actually is wearing on you. And it's very convincing to look like control, but it's really not. It's actually a money wound. It actually started way back when. Where does it come from, right? Where does control usually come from? And why do we want it? And why it just doesn't come out of nowhere, right? So let's think about your own life. Where or was there ever a time when things felt completely out of control? Maybe it was unpredictable when you were growing up. Maybe your parents fought about money. Maybe there was never enough. You felt like there was never enough. Maybe one parent controlled all the money and the other one had no idea what was happening. And maybe even went through a divorce and suddenly your entire life and your financial world was completely changed and you felt like you had no control at that point. Maybe someone you trusted with money and it didn't really turn out that way. Like you might have been betrayed with money. Maybe you lost a job or a business or someone that you truly loved. Maybe you watched your investments drop drastically. Like I remember 2002, 2008, 2010, like we lost money. Maybe you experienced something that taught you a very powerful lesson and things can change in a total instant. And that's what we've experienced. When we've experienced that, it's a kind of uncertainty. Our brain wants to protect us from ever feeling that vulnerable and feeling that uncertainty again. So our brain's just trying to take care of us. However, it can get out of control. So when we make a decision, sometimes without even realizing it, I will never let that happen to me again. Have you ever said that? I've said that around relationships. I've always said, I will never live like that again. And I can point 5 instances right now that I will never live like that again. Same thing with money. I will never let that happen to me again. And control becomes protection. It becomes safety. So we start telling ourselves, I can control my money, I'll be okay. If I can control my spending, I'll be okay. If I can control my partner's spending or my children's spending, I'll be okay. If I can control my investments, my children, my career, my future, I will be safe. Except there's one little problem. We can't ever control everything. And trying to become controlling over everything is absolutely exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. So when control looks like responsibility, this is where control wounds get tricky because we do need to be responsible. We need to be aware of things. We need to know what's happening. But when the control is around money, it can be healthy or it can be tricky. Of course, I want you to know what you own, what you have, your monies, all that great stuff. I want you to understand investing. I think that's why I spend so much time educating my clients because I really want them to feel secure. I want you to understand your investments. I want you to understand all your accounts. You might have like old retirement accounts. You might have an old 401k here. There's several. You might have like all these accounts everywhere that you might not even know what they are. I want you to have a spending plan that you create on your own and you have your emotional intelligence tied to everything that you're spending and you control what you're spending. I want you to know what's coming in. I want you to know what's going out. When I work with my clients, yes, I know this might sound daunting, but they know where every dime is going. And guess what? It's their choice. So they are in control of what is going out. Now, can I control my PG or not PG&E, but my electrical bill? Now that I'm in the North Carolina, it's actually just electrical, $250. Can I control that? Well, yeah, I've had the air conditioning on 24/7 for I don't know how long. It's so freaking humid here right now. So yeah, I control that. I keep the temperature where I want it. Do I want to spend more? I make my air conditioning go lower. I control that. So sometimes we have to own what we control before we can blame anything else. I want you to know your financial awareness. So the question is, what happens emotionally when something doesn't go according to plan? I have a friend that always talks about everything's going to according to plan. Like it's like the best thing when everything's going according to plan. Of course, we can't say that real loud in airports because then it sounds like we're masterminding something crazy in the airport. So it's a big joke. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Okay, this is where we begin to see the difference between healthy planning and fear-driven control. Healthy planning says, I have a plan, and if something changes, I'll adjust it. Control says, if something changes, everything could fall apart. Healthy planning says, I understand my investments, and I have a great long-term strategy, and I can pivot at any time. Control says, the market is down, I have to do something. Healthy planning says, I can afford this trip. I've been planning for it. Control says, yes, I can afford it, but what if I need money someday? That is just like so daunting, right? Control says, healthy. Do you see the difference between what control says and what healthy planning says? I can totally see the difference. One comes from confidence. Healthy planning comes from confidence. I have the money. I'm looking forward to spending it. I've planned for this. And the other comes from fear. So when we're working out of control, it's out of fear. I believe we're either in love or fear at all times. So if you're coming from love, you're making a decision out of loving yourself, loving the world, knowing the universe has got your back. You might even have faith. You might even know God's got your back. You might even know that everything was planned for you. Whatever your beliefs are, that's coming from love. But when you're coming from fear, this is where things need to change. You can't enjoy it. You're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're walking on eggshells. Your nervous system and your body is on overdrive, and it's not healthy at all. I see this so often. I work with women throughout their entire lives, and I've seen women save forever. I had this one client, she invested, she saved, she was so responsible. She did everything she was supposed to do, like they tell us. And now she finally has enough money to enjoy her life. She has millions, but she can't enjoy it. She can't take that trip. She can't spend that money. She's afraid to spend that money, even when she needs a new car. But she keeps the old one forever and ever and ever, even when it's falling down, breaking down. To me, that is another thing of safety. My car has got to be able to run. She wants to help her children, but she worries that giving them too much money might jeopardize her future. And I keep, she comes to me after being with several other advisors, and I see her going through advisors. And I'm like, okay, everyone's told you you're fine. So we have to look deeper. This is where you need a money coach. We have to look deeper and find out where this feeling is coming. Sometimes the numbers tell a completely different story. The financial plan says she's okay. Her account says she's okay. The math says she's okay. But emotionally, she just doesn't feel okay. And that is so important because money decisions are not made by spreadsheets alone, math alone. They're made by human beings who've been through shit, right? We've all been through shit here and there. We've all been through crap. We've had a past. We've had experiences. And so we're human beings, and our story and our history is built into our financial decisions. Every day, we make financial decisions every day, depending on the past that we've experienced. So control can also show up in relationships. Now let's talk about something that we can be a little bit more uncomfortable. Let's talk about our control money wound just doesn't affect us. It affects people around us. So maybe you need to know exactly what your spouse is spending, or your business partner is spending, or your kids are spending. Maybe you criticize how your adult children spend money or use money. Maybe you criticize the house they bought, the car they bought, or how they spend differently than you do. Maybe you loan someone money and you feel like you should have a say in every financial decision they make. I actually just saw this on Frasier. If you've ever watched that show, he loaned Roz money and she started spending money and he was like totally judging every dime that she was spending. But in actuality, she was spending things differently than what he thought. So it puts us into a judgment mode. And I don't know about you, but judgy pudgies, we do not need to be judgy pudgies. Like if we're judging anyone else, turn the finger around and look at ourselves. Like this is probably one of my biggest pet peeves, and probably one of the things that I had to turn around a lot is when I start judging someone. It could be someone cutting me off in traffic. It could be anybody at the store. It could be anything at all. I've really come a long way with not judging. I've been working on this for, oh my gosh, 2000, probably 15 years now about judging. It's a big thing because we need to just look at ourselves. When we're judging others, we're running away from how we feel emotionally. So look at every negative thing you say about someone else and turn that around to yourself, because it's not about them. People are just doing the best they can. People are just trying to get by in their life. They all have experiences. They all have circumstances, and everyone's doing the best they can. So give love, give peace, send love, send peace instead of judging. So now we're going to turn that around and look at ourselves, right? Maybe we think to our kids, if they would just do it my way, everything would be great. I am total victim of that as well. Like, I mean, I still do that, right? And maybe I'm right. Maybe if they did do it my way, they'd be right. But that's not necessarily their path. They're here for their own life and their own path and their own spiritual journey. I can't control that, and it's none of my business, really. I raise kids for a certain amount of time, and then they're on their own. Now, can I help support? Absolutely. We're totally doing that. But there's still a question worth asking. Am I offering guidance or am I offering control? And am I trying to control their outcome because it makes me feel uncomfortable? I see this a lot when my daughter was going to college, and, where are they going to get into? And everyone lives through their kids, right? So like now I'm in this community and we talk about our kids. So are you what your kids are and who they are? I have to say, being in North Carolina, it's such a breath of fresh air, because California, it was all about accomplishments, where your kids went to school, what was happening, what they're doing, how much are they making, what kind of job they have. And there's still echelons of that here. However, is your kid a good person, right? Is your kid enjoying their life? It's not about how good everyone in that echelon being judgy-wudgy about it, but did you raise good kids? Are they struggling? Are you helping them get out of their struggles? We all have kids that struggle. And I'm hearing that more and more and more. So how does that work, right? So when we're trying to control someone else to make us feel better, to make our fear feel better, that's when we got to take a look at it. So the cost of control to feel safe, but control has a cost. It can cost you opportunities, relationships, experiences, cost you your own peace because we're stressed out every day. It could also cost you money. It could cost you missed opportunities. Fear makes people sell when the markets fall, sit in cash for years instead of waiting for the perfect investment time. Consistently change strategies because they're out of control. The biggest thing none of us can control is control. We just can't do it. We cannot control the market, timing. We can't control other people. We can control our strategy, our plan, our money plan, our spending plan. We can control our risk level. How much do we want to invest or not invest? But we can't control what everybody else does. We can't control what our kids do, what they spend on. That's not our job. So what are you really afraid of? I want you to start asking yourself these questions and really get some homework done, right? So what does it mean losing money? What does that mean to you? Do you ever feel like I've failed? I failed as a parent. I failed as a single mom. What could I have done better, right? Would it mean, how could it mean taking care of yourself now? Would it mean depending on someone else? Would it mean becoming like your parents, losing your independence? You don't want to be a burden on your kids, right? So let's separate the facts from the feelings. I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I might be running out of money. Okay, is that feeling real? Let's look at it. Is it fact? Let's separate fact from feeling. Okay, this is what I give on a lot of my podcasts. This is your big thing. I don't want you to ignore the feeling. I just want you to separate it from, do I have enough money? Has your financial advisor told you you're good? Get a second opinion, get a third opinion. That's fine. But if they all tell you you're good, then you're coming from a feeling that is not, you don't need to do that, right? So when I say let go of control, I'm not telling people to stop paying attention. I'm just saying you can control how much you spend, how much you save. You can control the choices you make. So here's your homework for this week. I want you to identify an area in your financial life where you feel strongest need of control. Is it your expenses? Is it your income? Are you losing grip on your money? Let's talk about it. Where does that fear come from? Is it based on what's happening today or something in your past? Is it a situation that you can actually control, or do you need to release it? Because if you need to release it, then there's lots of things that we can do to release that. So I want you to see if your control has made you feel safe. Now, today you can learn, get knowledge, get a plan, find some resources to help you feel educated, to feel more confident. And most importantly, I want your confidence to build and let go of the fear that you used to feel around your money in relationships and emotions. But I want your confidence to make the decisions. I hope that's helped you today. So we want to separate feelings from fact, okay? And if you're spending too much money on something, stop it. You have the choice. You have the control. You get to choose where every dime is spent. Do I choose to spend it on electricity? Heck yeah, I do. Humidity's crazy here, y'all. That's why my hair's up, just saying. Okay, I'm so glad you were here today for Rock My Finances. Keep coming. I got another, this is one of 7 wounds. So you got some more to check out. And I want you to be able to listen to this podcast. And I want you to be able to say at the end of it, I rock my finances.
We appreciate you joining us today, and don't forget to subscribe to the Rock My Finances YouTube channel for more engagement and bonus content. Tell me, what is your money story? Let's find out with Jennifer right here on K4HD Radio and Talk 4 TV. It's not about the zero, it's about the F word, feelings. Feelings Jennifer can't wait to explore with you next week. Until then, let's all say, I rock my finances.